Chapter 5. Least Likely to Succeed. New Year's Day, 1956. What a peculiar moment to step into a new decade. It felt less like a celebration and more like a quiet, almost desperate leap across a Rubicon. At 26, I stood there, but the biting chill of that January morning made me feel like I'd aged a lifetime. A man, weary, whose life had been twisted and turned by the Marine Corps in a parade of dead-end gigs and radio booths. And here I was, about to marry Fay Maltese. The ceremony? Oh, it was modest, more a reflection of our meager savings than our grand dreams. Fay, a sharp-witted secretary at Chemical Bank, was a true New Yorker. She saw something in me, this big lummox from Danville, something I hadn't even begun to recognize. She was my anchor, the one who didn't bat an eye when I confessed my desire to escape the relentless grind of shoe sales and dive headfirst into the wicked world of acting. I could feel the weight of her gaze, steady and unwavering, as if she believed in me more than I believed in myself. And in that moment I realized maybe, just maybe, I wasn't as lost as I thought. "Jean, you really think this is the right move?" She questioned, her voice a mix of hope and hesitation, as we crammed our lives just a few boxes and memories into the cramped space of our old car. The thought of leaving behind the dreary concrete canyons of Manhattan for the sun-kissed allure of California felt surreal, almost like a dream that could slip away at any moment. "I'm certain," I replied, though a storm brewed in my gut, an anxious knot twisted tighter with every passing second, haunted by my drill instructor's ghostly words echoing in my mind. The last thing I wanted was to be an old man sitting in a faded armchair, wondering about the roads not taken. Fay squeezed my hand, her grip warm and reassuring, a silent promise that we were in this together. "Then we're doing it. We'll figure it out as we go," she said, her voice steady, like the beat of a drum that urged us forward. So we hit the road, heading west, fueled by a motto that felt more like a dare. Work with the stars, become a star. But honestly, stardom wasn't my goal. No, I was on a quest for something deeper, a craft that could harness the fiery temper of a Vesuvius and the weight of the world I'd been carrying since my father's goodbye hung in the air like a fog. The Pasadena Playhouse, oh, what a sight! A sprawling, Spanish-style gem that whispered tales of old Hollywood, yet somehow, in my mind, it resembled an English prison, albeit one with a garden that could make you weep. I stepped through its doors, my unassuming looks in tow, and I couldn't help but chuckle at my own reflection, an everyday mine worker, or so I thought. Here I was, a 6'2" ex-Marine, tipping the scales at 200 pounds, feeling like a giant among these 18-year-old boys, who seemed to have been sculpted from soap, smooth, polished, and radiating that youthful charm that felt almost foreign to me. They were Hollywood ready, while I was just, well, me, with a knee made of metal and plastic, carrying memories of the 1949 Communist Revolution scent wafting through Shanghai. The gap between us, oh, it wasn't merely a matter of years. It was like the pull of a black hole, a weighty gravity that made me acutely aware of my own presence. I could almost feel the air shift around us, thick with unspoken stories and the echoes of laughter that seemed to dance just out of reach. "Hey, Hackman, you're a bit behind the curve, huh?" A classmate leaned against the stucco wall, oozing a kind of bravado that made my skin crawl. It was like he was the sun and I was just a shadow fading fast. Most leading men are on their game by 30. Tick-tock, my friend. I felt a fire no, a volcano brewing inside me, ready to erupt. "I didn't come here to be some leading man," I shot back, the heat rising in my chest. "I came to be an actor." With the GI Bill in my pocket, the government was betting on my dreams or maybe my failures. The Playhouse, with its old-school, rigid methods, felt like a cage to my wild spirit. I craved that electric spark, the raw, instinctive pulse I admired in James Cagney. But the instructors? They were all about stiff postures and polished speech like they were sculpting statues instead of nurturing living, breathing art. It was a clash of worlds, my heart racing against their rules, and I was left wondering if I could break free. "Mr. Hackman," the instructor's voice sliced through the air, heavy with the weight of a long day. We had just wrestled through a scene Study Me, trying to inject a Marine's fiery spirit into a light-hearted drawing-room comedy. It felt like mixing oil and water. "You're attacking the dialogue. It needs room to breathe." "Breath? This dialogue is junk?" I shot back, frustration bubbling up. "I'm just trying to make it feel real, you know?" His gaze was a cocktail of pity and annoyance, like he was watching a train wreck in slow motion. "Real isn't always what the camera craves, Gene. You possess a certain density that's tough to navigate." I could feel the heat rising, a mix of indignation and confusion swirling inside me. Density? Was that a compliment or a critique? The words hung in the air like a thick fog, heavy, suffocating. I wanted to scream, or maybe just laugh. But then a thought flickered. What if I let the dialogue breathe, like a flower opening up to the sun, or maybe it was just a lost cause? The tension crackled around us, a palpable energy, as I tried to find my footing in this chaotic dance of words and emotions. I was the odd one out, a big lummox in a sea of sleek, pretty boys, until fate tossed me a lifeline in the form of another misfit. Enter Dustin Hoffman, a whirlwind of energy, all nerves and raw talent, who was facing a storm of his own. They told him he was too short, that his nose stuck out like a sore thumb, and that he lacked the polished facade of a leading man. It was as if we were two castaways, clinging desperately to the same piece of driftwood, hoping to stay afloat. One afternoon, as we lounged on the theater steps, sharing a pack of cigarettes that tasted like rebellion, Dustin sighed, "They don't know what to do with us." Hacky. His voice was laced with that familiar frustration. "We're not the stars they're searching for." I shrugged, trying to mask the sting of rejection that felt like a relentless barrage, psychological warfare, really. "I don't care," I shot back, though inside a storm was brewing. "I'm not letting those bastards drag me down." The world outside felt like a blinding flash of lights, but here, in this moment, we were just two souls navigating the chaos together. In the eyes of our classmates, we were the misfits, the ones who didn't quite fit into the neat little boxes they'd crafted. Hours slipped away as we immersed ourselves in organizing play readings, the thrill of acting out risque jokes buzzing through the air like electricity. It was a performance, raw and unfiltered, free from the judgment of those who couldn't grasp the essence of the method. What did they know anyway? Faye, my rock, was juggling her role as a secretary, keeping our dreams afloat while I felt the weight of expectation pressing down on me like a boulder lodged in my chest. The relentless ticking of the GI, Bill echoed in my mind, a reminder of the urgency to succeed. I had no father figure to lean on, just the fading memory of a man who vanished when life got tough. Determined to carve out a different path, I found myself battling against the tide of doubt from the Playhouse, which seemed to whisper that I lacked the necessary tools to make it happen. But I could feel it, this burning desire to prove them wrong, to rise above the shadows of my past. The air was thick with unspoken dreams, and I was ready to break free, or maybe just take a step forward. The struggle was palpable, a dance between hope and despair, and I knew I had to keep pushing, keep fighting. The year reached its peak. Oh, the final evaluations. It wasn't just that we felt like misfits in a world that didn't want us. No, the school took it a step further, branding our unsuitability in the official records like a scarlet letter. That day, cast their ballots, and guess what? Dustin and I were crowned the least likely to succeed. Least likely to succeed, Dustin echoed later that night, his voice a mere whisper as we sat in our cramped little apartment, Faye's laughter echoing faintly in the background. He looked like a deer caught in headlights, his usual spark dimmed, replaced by a heavy, almost palpable sadness. They actually wrote it down. "It's psychological warfare," I shot back, the words bitter on my tongue, like biting into a rusty nail. The Vesuvius inside me, it wasn't just simmering anymore. It was primed to blow. I refuse to let them win. I'll stick with this until I land a job. It's me against the world. In that moment, a realization washed over me. If you're genuinely passionate about acting, there's a part of you that thrives on the struggle, that craves it like a drug. You twist the truth, bend the rules, whatever it takes to snag an audition. Because let's face it, no one's handing you the chance to showcase the skills you've honed. And so, the battle begins. We didn't linger in California for long after that. With no golden opportunities in sight and that least likely tag clinging to us like a heavy anchor, Faye and I made the call to return to the concrete jungle of New York. "What's next?" she asked, her gaze fixed on the vanishing coastline, the waves retreating like lost hopes in the rearview mirror. "New York," I replied, a spark igniting in my chest. "The stage, summer stock, off-Broadway, anything, really." Years ago, when I first set foot in the Big Apple, I was, let's just say I was a bit of a naive dreamer. But that setback in Pasadena, it sharpened my resolve. I realized, with a jolt, that success wasn't about being the soap boy or possessing those so-called leading man looks. No, it was about grit, about pushing through a world that seemed hell-bent on slamming doors in your face. And as we drove, the scent of salt water fading, I felt a rush of determination. The city was calling, and I was ready to answer, or maybe just scream into the void. We settled into this cramped 6-story walk-up in the heart of Manhattan. Oh, the charm of those creaky stairs. Faye dove back into her role as a bank secretary, while I stumbled into the relentless cycle of miserable odd jobs that would become my life. The infamous New York grind. Picture me, a truck driver once more, a soda jerk slinging fizzy drinks, and a counterman at Wheelin' Drugs, where the scent of antiseptic lingered like a bad memory. Then there was the doorman gig. Oh, the irony. It was there that I crossed paths with a former Marine officer. His gaze pierced through my uniform, and I could feel the heat rising in my cheeks as he spat out, "You're a sorry son of a bitch." The humiliation washed over me like a cold wave, leaving me breathless. Or was it just the weight of the city? Life in the Big Apple, it's a dizzying whirlwind, isn't it? The doorman's crisp uniform, the shoe sales? Honestly, they hardly registered in my mind. I was just scraping by years later. I found myself borrowing my daughter's old clunker to make it to auditions. Yet, amidst all that, a fire burned within me. The Pasadena Playhouse had tried to bury my dreams, but all they succeeded in doing was igniting a fierce defiance within me, a painful asset, indeed. Not quite an actor yet, not in the paid sense, but a craftsman in the making. I was discovering that survival in this ruthless game meant being ready to adapt, ready to battle, and ready to bide my time until that moment arrived, the moment when that sorry son of a bitch finally clutched a script that could change everything. And oh, the anticipation, the thrill of possibility was like a jolt of electricity coursing through me. It was a wild ride, one that demanded patience and grit, but I was here, waiting for that spark,